This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The inquest into the death of a 16-year-old First Nations girl killed by police heard from 3 passengers who were in the car with her. They were in a stolen Jeep when the girl was shot twice by a police officer. Aisha Hudson was killed in April 2020 after a robbery escalated into a high-speed police chase. The CBC's Rosanna Hempel has more.
It was an emotional day at the inquest into Aisha Hudson's death. Family members and supporters wearing Justice for Aisha shirts heard from 3 passengers of the stolen Jeep she was driving, who described the confusion, fear, and panic in the final minutes leading up to the police shooting that killed their friend. The witnesses can't be identified due to a publication ban because they were youths that day in April 2020. They described how the group of 5 teens drank in the vehicle after leaving the liquor store robbery in the Sage Creek area of Winnipeg before a police chase unfolded, leading to the Jeep losing control and slamming into a truck on Lagimodiere Boulevard. The front passenger agreed he was afraid and confused and didn't notice police officers surrounding the vehicle or hear their commands over the music. He says he didn't hear the 2 gunshots and didn't know Hudson had been killed until his lawyer told him the next morning. I said, "There were 5 of us, not 4. Where is the 5th person?" And he told me she is deceased, the front passenger said. The 2 passengers in the back seat of the Jeep became emotional during their testimony and wiped away tears during breaks as they recalled more about Hudson's final moments. One couldn't be sure he heard the shooting, but remembers police dragging Hudson out of the driver's seat and throwing her on the ground. He said she was bleeding from her upper chest and mouth. They were still using force on her, even though she was very hurt, the backseat passenger said. Some of the passengers didn't recall their vehicle moving after it had struck the truck. Constable Kyle Pradnuk testified last week that he fired 2 shots at the driver after he believed the Jeep would hit other officers. When asked by Hudson's family's lawyer Danielle Morrison, the passengers agreed everything happened very fast. "You could not have known that a shot was about to be fired," Morrison said to one of the backseat passengers, to which he replied, "No." The inquest doesn't assign blame, but the judge can issue recommendations to prevent similar deaths. The inquest continues throughout the month. Rosanna Hempel, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The provincial inquiry into Winnipeg's police headquarters began in earnest today, with the first of 5 months of public hearings into the troubled city mega project. CBC's Bartley Kivas attended the hearing and joins us live from outside the police headquarters. So, Bartley, what has this inquiry set out to do?
Well, the inquiry is focused on the conversion of this former Canada Post complex into the new home, or the home, of the Winnipeg Police Service. The $214 million project has already been subject to cost overruns, delays, audits, an RCMP investigation, and civil lawsuits, including one that determined former Winnipeg CEO Phil Schiegel accepted a $327,000 bribe in exchange for showing favor to Armic Babakanians and his company, Caspian Construction, which did most of the police HQ work. Now, we'll hear testimony from both Schiegel and Babakanians next week.
So, Bartley, who did we hear from today?
Well, most of today involved questions to a Winnipeg purchasing manager, longtime manager, Barb Davignon. Now, she was asked to walk through a series of contracts for the design, management, and construction of the project. Davignon was asked about the city decision to reduce the bonding required for the construction work. That's the money construction companies have to put up in case they don't finish the work. The hearing exhibits show Davignon identified the reduction as a risk. She was told nonetheless to reduce the bonding. The inquiry's lawyer asked if that was normal.
In your 35 years working with the city, have you ever seen a bond that's $25 million for what's proposed to be an $80 million contract? Is that usual, unusual, common, seen it before, never seen it again?
Never seen it before, and I've never seen it again.
Caspian Construction ended up with the job. Now, under cross-examination from Caspian's lawyer, Davignon said that she did not reduce the bonding, or the bonding was not reduced specifically to benefit Caspian.
Okay, so Bartley, this is expected to go on for a while. Who else are we going to hear from?
Well, tomorrow we'll hear from Sean Barnes of PCL Construction. That's one of the companies that lost out on the the Police HQ contract bidding to Caspian. And next week, former Winnipeg Mayor Sam Cates is slated to speak. Brittany.
All right, thank you. That's CBC's Bartley Kivas. A 10-year deadline has come and gone for healthcare facilities, including personal care homes, to install fire sprinklers. As CBC's Josh Crabb reports, the Manitoba government extended the deadline after CBC News started asking questions about the status of the work.
Fred Douglas Lodge is home to 136 people getting long-term care. The building on Burroughs Avenue is one of 77 healthcare facilities that missed a January 1st deadline to install a sprinkler system. They were given 10 years to do it. The CEO, Greg Reed, says the work was delayed by the pandemic and cost overruns.
Everybody would have preferred that this was done more quickly.
The Manitoba government made the change to the province's fire code in 2015 following this fire at a seniors' home in L'Île Verte, Quebec that left 32 people dead. The change required all hospitals, licensed personal care homes, and healthcare facilities to have automatic sprinkler systems in place by January 1st of this year. Late last week, the Manitoba government changed the fire code to extend the deadline by 3 years after CBC started asking if the work was done on time.
This is something that should have been done years ago. It wasn't, but we're making sure now that everyone's on the same page. We've got the infrastructure we need and the plans in place to get this done.
This is an example of the progress being made at Fred Douglas Lodge. Work to install the sprinkler system started 6 months ago. It's a big job to run piping and put in sprinkler heads throughout the building. Reed expects the project to be finished by the fall of 2028. That's within the extended deadline. The government says sprinkler systems have been installed so far at 117 hospitals, personal care homes, and health centers. Work at 41 additional sites is expected to be complete by the end of March 2027. Sprinkler system installs at the remaining 36 sites are scheduled to be finished by the end of 2028. The seniors advocate says that's not good enough.
We haven't met a 10-year plan to meet the most basic fire safety needs in healthcare, and especially for places like personal care homes where our most vulnerable population resides. It's an extraordinary problem.
Reed says the province is paying for the upgrades and the care home has been working with Shared Health on putting in the sprinkler system.
Extending the deadline will mean that most, if not all, projects will be completed.
He says they have a robust fire plan in place, which includes regular monthly drills in case residents have to get out in an emergency. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The City of Winnipeg is proposing banning protests within 100 meters of schools, hospitals, libraries, and community centres and places of worship. The Safe Access to Vulnerable Infrastructure bylaw would impose fines starting at $500 up to $5,000. It comes after city officials and police raised concerns about the amount of resources needed to manage protests in recent years. The mayor says the goal is to balance people's right to protest with people's right to safely access community spaces.
This is about us as a city making sure that we respect people's right to protest and to rally, but at the same time we have to make sure that the spaces that people frequent on a regular basis are also protected.
The Executive Policy Committee will debate the proposed bylaw on Tuesday. Classes were back on at St. John's High School. The school was closed yesterday after a threat began circulating on social media about a school shooting scheduled for today. The Winnipeg School Division Superintendent confirms there's no threat and the school is safe to open. He admits not everyone knew about yesterday's closure quickly and says they plan to improve communication by launching a new text message system, and alerts will come in a variety of languages. All right, let's bring in Riley Lachuk with your weather. And Riley, windy out there earlier today, but all in all, a pretty nice day.
Yeah, at least here in the city, Brittany, and parts of southern Manitoba actually jumping above the freezing mark once again this afternoon. So -8 in Winnipeg, fairly seasonal for this time of the year. We are once again under one of those sunny slots. A good chunk of the province, as you'll see on satellite in a moment here, under cloud cover throughout the day. Melita +1 this afternoon into some warmer air. Dauphin at -6 this afternoon. So this is how that cloud cover has started to clear out as we've gotten throughout the day. That's as we start to see high pressure pushing its way into the province. And again, you know, parts of the Inner Lake into southeastern Manitoba in more of a sunny sky throughout the day today. Certainly not the case everywhere in the province. So as we see that clearing happening, that'll allow temperatures to drop down -16 overnight. Winds also lighten up as we get through the overnight hours, -14 first thing in the morning, and a bit of a brighter day again, Brittany, tomorrow afternoon. And let's get a bit warmer as we get through the afternoon as well, up to -3. Your full forecast just ahead.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
Art with messages of solidarity, unity, and love. How One Winnipeg Group is looking to help people in Minneapolis. We'll have more on that next. A Winnipeg not-for-profit is getting creative and hoping you will too. It's all to help show in a show of solidarity for our sister city south of the border. Paintings and art that will be sent to an organization in Minnesota, auctioned off with the money going to help families that need help. CBC's Gavin Axelrod has more.
It's art expressing solidarity, love, and unity. And it also has a purpose.
But so far, we've got almost full wall of artwork to send down to Minneapolis.
In January, two people, Renee Good and Alex Preddy, were fatally shot by ICE agents during separate interactions. Eddie Ayoub is Art City's artistic director. Ayoub says the not-for-profit wanted to do something to show support for Winnipeg's neighbor to the south.
It's like a situation that you're disturbed by, but you don't have any control over it. Because it's another country, it's another city. And so we just thought, let's do what we do. We'll use art to build community, do some outreach to the people who are living through the fear and the harm.
These pieces will be sent to Articulture, a similar not-for-profit in Minneapolis. The organization wants to eventually have a pop-up gallery with the Winnipeg art and donate the money from it to families impacted by the actions of ICE in Minnesota. Liz Greenbaum is Articulture's executive director.
A lot of people are needing rent. They have situations where even if people are legal here, they're afraid to leave their homes, so they're not going to work. People that have been abducted who were the breadwinners, so families at home stuck with no income.
Greenbaum says people in Minneapolis are determined to continue peaceful demonstrations against ICE.
2 people have been killed here. That kind of sums it up in terms of the extreme that they've gone to. That is, there's so, every day, I cannot tell you how many illegal things they're doing. It's unbelievable.
People here in Winnipeg want them to know they're not alone.
As an Indigenous person, it's really scary to see, especially since Minneapolis is so close to Winnipeg.
There are similar feelings expressed by the art on this wall, created with quiet focus, with messages people hear hope speak loud and clear. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, Olympic fever is running rampant for many, but in one small community near the Saskatchewan border, the cheers are all for one homegrown hero. Elkhorn's Travis Sanheim has been tapped to play for Team Canada. CBC's Michelle McDougall has more.
Look at this, they've got Canada 3, whoever second.
Shelley and Kent Sanheim are seeing firsthand how the community of Elkhorn is celebrating their son Travis, an NHL Philadelphia Flyer who's about to lace up for Team Canada at the Milano Cortina Olympic Games.
Every moment, we're gonna soak it up, every moment. This is a once in a lifetime. He may never get this opportunity again. And we're just so proud of him. We're just so thrilled.
He's the community's homegrown hero, with posters lining the hallways showcasing his climb from minor hockey to the NHL, World Junior Championships, and 2025's gold medal win at the Four Nations Face-Off Tournament. Shelley and Kent have been in the stands through it all, but say it never gets easier.
So as a parent, you're always worried that he's going to do something or do something good, right? You're I don't know, you're up, down, sideways, all over, right? And it's, you did it when you were young, and you still did it whether he's an NHL player or when we go to Milan, we'll still do it. So,
homes, businesses, the Seniors Lodge and personal care home in town have also put up posters and flags showing their support. Lifelong friend of the Sanheim family, Garth Mitchell, says Travis is an intelligent hockey player who's successful because he puts in the work.
And you think of the odds of somebody from Elkhorn, small town of 500 people, making it to the NHL, let alone making it to the Olympics. It's amazing. We're so happy and proud of him.
Travis has 3 siblings, including a slightly older twin brother. He has 7 nieces and nephews. 3 of them are students at his alma mater. How do you feel about your Uncle Travis?
Proud.
Sanheim isn't the only Manitoban on Team Canada. He, along with Seth Jarvis and Mark Stone, play their first game against Czechia on Thursday. Puck drops at 9:40 a.m. Manitoba time. Michelle McDougall, CBC News, Elkhorn.
Politics has come into play in the skeleton event at the Milano Cortina Winter Games. An athlete from Ukraine is trying to keep the world's attention on Russia's invasion of his country. During a training session, he wore a helmet with images of fellow athletes who've died in the war.
Some of them were kids who never be able to compete anymore and who was killed under shellings in different cities. And some of them was also part of this Olympic family.
The International Olympic Committee has banned him from wearing the helmet during competition, instead offering a chance to compete while wearing a black armband. But he says he still wants to wear it. Riley, back in now, and only day 4 of the games, but we're already hearing some amazing stories from there. Love seeing all the little tidbits behind the scenes too. So much of that on our website, on GEM, on our network. So tune in if you haven't seen any of it. Also a time to get outside and enjoy some of those winter activities here.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at a pretty decent stretch of weather, Brittany, for southern Manitoba at least. There is a bit of snow in northern Manitoba, but I'm going to start talking about precipitation a bit because we're getting to the point again where we could start to get a bit more snow into the mix here. So looking at our snow depth, I mean, northern Manitoba pretty flush with a pretty healthy snowpack through the winter so far, around in some places up to 50 centimeters on the ground even in some cases. But southern Manitoba, where we have seen some of those warmer temperatures, particularly in the southwest, the modeling suggesting that snowpack actually getting pretty thin anywhere really south of the Trans-Canada Highway. And I mean, I sound like a broken record. Over the past few months, I've been talking about the need to replenish that moisture reservoir in time for the spring growing season. And well, you know, looking at some of the data from Manitoba agriculture, really a lot of southern Manitoba at this point, less than 50% of our normal precipitation cumulative over the past 3 months. This is a map from November 1st all the way to just a couple of days ago here. So that gives you a sense that the need for precipitation, unfortunately for the south, I don't have a lot of that in the forecast. For the north, there is a bit more snow on the way. So high pressure starts to push into the province as we get through the overnight hours tonight. That should clear things out pretty nicely, although I think we'll still have a few clouds hanging around first thing in the morning, particularly in the west, and the remnants of that low putting some cloud cover into northeastern parts of the province first thing. Generally, though, looking at a mix of sun and clouds as we get through the day on Wednesday into Thursday. There is a developing low that will push across the north through the day Thursday into early Friday morning. Not looking at a ton of accumulation, but combined with a bit of wind could mean blowing snow, reduced visibility on highways in northern Manitoba. What this is looking like is a pretty general 2 to 4 centimeters, maybe some pockets up to 5 centimeters or so. So pretty negligible in terms of any real precipitation, but nonetheless could get into maybe some of that as we get into the day on Thursday, wrapping up into early Friday morning. For the province, as we get through the day on Wednesday, boy, oh boy, looking at temperatures above seasonal for this time of the year for really much of the province. All the way up to 0 once again in Melita, forecasting -2 in Brandon tomorrow afternoon, around -5 or so into the Red River Valley, and looking at temperatures even in northern Manitoba on the warm side for this time of the year, -7 in Thompson. This is where we have a bit of extra cloud cover through the day, then we'll see some more building in as we get toward the rest of that system that pushes through on Thursday. So long range at the moment, looking at -2 on the way for Thursday for Winnipeg, a mix of sun and clouds, and yep, popping up above the freezing mark as we head toward the long weekend, +1 on Friday, Brittany, and we are looking at conditions staying fairly similar to this as we head right through the long weekend. That is coming up.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
Well, Canada has won another medal at the Winter Olympics. We'll have the latest from the Games after the break.
All right, have a look into your dog walking forecast now as we head into the middle of the week, into your Wednesday. Have a look at Copper. Looks so cute. Resting on the couch. Thank you, Daphne. Copper's actually been really waiting for some warmer weather to get outside for some walks. And you know what? I've got that in the forecast for you. -3 tomorrow afternoon. Maybe a bit breezy at times, but we'll see that wind starting to lighten up as we get through into the day tomorrow. So your 7-day forecast looks like this. I don't know what I did, but this is not the 7-day forecast. Let's see if we can push it back a little bit. There we go. And we'll do this again, and we'll see a temperature of +1 into Friday. And your long weekend looking at -2 into Sunday, -3 on the way for Monday.
All right, day 4 of the Milano Cortina Winter Olympics saw Canada win our 3rd medal, this one in short track speed skating.
The Canadian star, William Danjanu, bell lap now. Danjanu, everything he's got, but it's going to be silver for the Canadians.
There it is, a silver medal for the mixed relay team of 3 women and 3 men. It was anchored by Montreal's William Danjanu, who's a multiple medal hopeful at these games. At the ski hill, flag bearer Mikhail Kingbury was one of 2 Canadian men and 2 Canadian women who advanced to Thursday's final in the moguls.
And Canada's Stellato Dudek has been cleared to compete in the figure skating pairs event beginning Sunday after hitting her head during training. The 42-year-old will be the oldest female figure skater in nearly a century to perform at the Olympics. And also in Italy, an event Canadian hockey fans have been waiting for, featuring one of the biggest rivalries in sport.
Alex Carpenter will take the opening draw for the United States, and Blair Turnbull from Stellarton, Nova Scotia for Canada.
Canada's women's hockey team facing off against Team USA in a preliminary round game, but our team had to do that without their leader, Captain Marie-Philippe Poulet. Couldn't play because of an injury. She went off the ice after a hit early in Monday's game against Czechia.
In the last Olympic finals, Team Canada beat the U.S. to win gold, but this game, it was a heartbreaker. A disastrous loss to the U.S., 5-0. Riley, it is the largest margin of victory ever against the Canadians.
Just put this one behind us.
Right?
There's always the next one.
Right? It's a good way of thinking about it. You got the bad one out of the way, and we're ready to kick some butt. Sure. You can catch all your Olympic coverage right here on CBC. We'll see you back here tomorrow night at 5 o'clock. Have a great night.
Ya.
It is the way you have to think about it.
And we'll be watching it at our desks.
Yes, I know, right?